Okay, hello students. On the international trade we are going to finish the Heckscher all-in model. The only problem which left for us to be solved is the problem 4 with the drawings, and I think from your point of view and my point of view this is the most important one, because in this problem we can test everything you know about this Heckscher all-in model without any calculations. So first of all, we have the two drawings. First is for country on the right hand side, and it shows that we have the two goods F and C, and we are using the capital and labor to produce both goods. So we know that our budget constraint, or the PPF, productivity possibility frontier rather, is this curve here. So we can choose any point on this frontier which determine us what should be produced. So this is first thing on this drawing. The second thing is that we have some autarky possibility where we are choosing something in here and selling and buying everything on the autarky price, relative price. But after opening to the international trade, we have new prospect of consumption. So now we have the relative price which is PC over PF, terms of trade. So this is the line which show us what is the proportion or what is the relative price. And now we can consume more, because if we produce one good, we can exchange it on the international market, buy a bigger amount of other good, and be on the higher utility curve, which is U in here. So what is happening here? We have here the Q point, which is the quantity or production point in here. So in this point we are producing this amount of good F in the country and this amount of good C in the country, but we want to consume less amount of good C. So we are not choosing this point. In autarky, the consumption is equal to the production, because every good which was produced in our model should be consumed. So now we can consume in here, so the point D here. So point D is like demand for the goods. So we know that we are consuming only this portion of C, and this is our export here. And also we want to consume a bigger amount of F, but we are producing in here, and this is our import. And we know from this drawing and the second one that the country is specializing in the production of good C. So abroad is specializing in production of good F. We know this from that picture because the relative supply of the country is on the right hand side, and the abroad relative supply curve is on the left hand side, which in this point we know that we are producing more C than F, and in this point we are going to that direction, which means that we are producing more F than C. So this is the profile of specialization here. So the autarkic price would be in here, so that would be the price A, which is autarkic price in abroad, and here is the price in country here. So this is also the autarkic price of country without the star, And now, after opening to trade, we know that the relative price is going up in here. So we know that we are producing bigger amount of C in the country. We are opening, so if we have big amount of the C good in the country, so the price of C is low. After opening to trade, the price is rising. And opposite can be observed in the case of the second good in the country. And in here, we know that the relative price in abroad is high, PC, PF. And why is that so? Because they are specializing in production of good F. So the price of F is low and price of C is high. And after opening to trade, the price is going, relative price is going down, something in here for like on our picture. So we know also that the F is labor intensive and C is capital intensive. And now we are having that the point A, I should mark A here, tell us that capital stock in country is rising up. One thing more, at the beginning of our classes, somewhere on our meeting, we mentioned about the trade triangle. So the trade triangle is in here. Demand, here we can put, I mark it E in your exercise file, and production. So this is the triangle. Okay, so now we can start solving our problem. So in this case, we know that the production possibility frontier is changing. So we are going here and here. So this is important because in case of Heckscher-Ohlin model, we know that both resources are included in production of both goods. So in this case, if stock of capital is rising, we have the bigger production of F, or the possibility of production of F, but even higher possibility to increase the production of good C. And this is, I forgot to tell about this theorem at the beginning of our classes, but this is according to our Rybczynski theorem. And this this is very important. Sorry for that. No, it wasn't the coronavirus. So Rybczynski theorem is telling us that increasing in some abundance of some resources would result in the increasing production of these goods, which relatively intensively use these resources. So in this case, translating to the human language, from economic to human language, if capital is increasing, stock of capital in country is increasing, we will see the increase in production of capital intensive good, which is good C in this case. Therefore, this is the bigger movement here than here. So okay, what is the next step? If nothing would change, we will mark the same curve in here. So we would have the situation like in here, but that would mean that now the relative price is the same, yeah, but for sure we know that it isn't. Why is that so? Because the quantity of goods available in the world changed. How it changed? It changed that for sure we have the rising production of QC in the country. So therefore I'm going for the violet color. We are moving our relative supply curve in here. Why? Because this is rising, so we need to go to the right. Okay, if we are going to the right, we know that the amount of C rise, so for sure we know that the relative price changed. Okay, unfortunately we are in here. So we know now that there is the drop in the relative price in here, so now we have the PCPF, terms of trade, I don't know, 1 for example. So in this case, if the price changed, so we cannot be we do not have the same relation in price, because the relative price drops. So if it drops, we need to turn our relative price. So we now see that we have the twist of the relative price in here. So now it is PCPF 1. And in this case we are somewhere in here, for example. So now we see that that our triangle is okay. This is our utility function 1. So we are here with our D, and in this case the trade triangle is smaller. And what happened in here? So in this case we now know that first of all we had increase in the stock of capital. After that we know that the production of C in the country rise up, because the C is capital intensive, and this is according to the Rybczynski theorem. After that, if after occurring or appearing new amount or bigger amount of goods C on the international market, the total amount of C is bigger. Therefore, we need to switch our relative supply in the right direction. Therefore, we have the drop in the price, relative price in here, and then we are not producing as much as without changing relative price at the world, but we are in here. So this is the Q1, and Q1 is bigger than Q. Yes. Unfortunately, you cannot see it, but for sure QC1. So 1 is bigger because we have a bigger amount of capital, but the change in the prices encourage people to change the sector, because the wage in the C good sector, the wage drops down. And if this is the case, some of the workers change the industry just to get a higher remuneration from the work, and go producing F good. So this is, we know that this is not very optimal behavior, because if they do not switch the sector, we would be better off, because we are specializing in the production of the C, but they goes anyway. So the trade triangle is smaller. We are on the higher utility function instead, but the opportunity is for us is worse off. So in this case, we are seeing that increase in the amount of capital and increase in the production. So this is the export oriented increase would make the terms of trade for the country worse off. So this is the conclusion here. The increase in production in the export oriented increase would worse off the situation, the terms of trade of the country. And this is the point A.